Manny is one of the dudes that I think definitely deserves to be in. Manny always has been and always will be one of my favorites because of the way he fights. I mean, a guy to come back after being knocked out in his truth.
Some nice ones. Thank you. He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy. But
how do you feel about Manny Pacquiao?
No, I love Manny going in too.
Manny Pacquiao is past his prime. He's not.
Boxing pros are weighing in on the Manny Pacquiao versus MarioBarrios fight. Oscar De La Hoya shares his support, saying he wishes Pacquiao all the best. He firmly believes Pacquiao can absolutely do it, calling him a legend of the sport. According to De La Hoya, Pacquiao's experience and heart still give him a real shot at victory, even against a younger opponent like Barrios.
I wish him all the best.
Father, I love him.
Can he do it?
Father?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend. You know,
some nice ones. Thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. speaks with clear admiration, calling Manny Pacquiao one of the sport's all-time greats. His respect comes not just from Pacquiao's accomplishments, but also from the way he consistently challenged top-tier opponents. For Jones, Pacquiao's return to the ring is exciting because it allows a beloved icon to show glimpses of his past brilliance. He views this as a chance for Manny to reignite his legacy by overwhelming younger competition and showing that greatness doesn't fade easily. Jones's words echo the kind of emotional support fans love to hear, reinforcing the idea that some legends still have something left to give, even when the odds say otherwise.
But how do you feel about Manny Pacquiao?
No, I love Manny, and I'm glad Manny going in too. Manny is one of the dudes that I think definitely deserves to be in. Manny always has been and always will be one of my favorites because of the way he fights. I mean, a guy to come back after being knocked out in two of his first three fights, then come back and do all the things that Manny did. That story is also just as awesome as Manny Pacquiao's story. You feel me? I mean, come on. Most guys can't bounce back from a knockout period. He got knocked out early in his career twice and came back and did all this.
Eddie Hearn approaches Pacquiao's return with a balance of admiration and realism. As a promoter who has watched countless careers rise and fall, Hearn understands the danger of nostalgia-driven comebacks. He doesn't dismiss Pacquiao's skills. He recognizes that few fighters in history have Pacquiao's resume, but he emphasizes that time away from the ring matters. Inactivity can dull reflexes and chip away at conditioning, especially against younger active fighters like Barrios. While Hearn admits Pacquiao might still outclass many opponents, he also warns that expecting a repeat of Pacquiao's prime years could lead to heartbreak. His tone is one of caution, advising fans to respect Manny's legacy without setting unrealistic expectations.
It's a very contentious subject, like, you know, people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like, we were talking about fighting him with Conor Benn maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So, you know, I guess there's two questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside of the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others. And with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots, and Barrios is not Crawford. You know, and that's why, you know, we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, like, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden. So actually Pacquiao, he's a step up. You know, people were still complaining at me for mentioning that fight, like Conor Benn is Boots, you know, but he still hasn't had those wins yet.
Ricky Hatton raises the alarm on how far the sport is willing to stretch age limits for big names. He sees the Pacquiao versus Barrios bout as part of a troubling pattern, one where aging legends are approved for competitive fights that might do more harm than good. Hatton reflects on his own experience and relates it to cases like Mike Tyson's late return, suggesting that regulators are no longer strict enough when it comes to protecting fighters. He doesn't doubt that Pacquiao still has skill, but he questions whether he should be allowed to compete at this level.
4 years he's fighting for the WBC welterweight title. That's July the 19th in Vegas, ironically. What did you make of that news when you heard it?
Well, it's boxing today, innit? To be honest with you, boxing thing. You know, if you can let a 58-year-old Mike Tyson box a Jake Paul, then, you know, Manny Pacquiao going back at 46 doesn't look too bad, does it? But Manny's coming back, though. You know, Tyson was coming back fighting Jake Paul. Manny's coming back fighting for the world title. But, and I say this with love, you know, how has Manny got his world title shot? He's been retired 6 years. He can't. He's got that on a previous successes, hasn't he? You know, to walk straight after being retired so many years ago, straight into a world title fight. How is that allowed possible? What happened? Surely he must have been dropped out of the rankings when he retired. All of a sudden, he decided to make a comeback. They put him straight in at #1 contender. I think only boxing can answer that.
I think he's been, did you say 5th, Joe? He's been already placed 5th in the world ranking.
5th in the, how can he be placed back in the top 10?
Comeback fight of it.
Yeah, you know, when you've been retired years and, you know, currently on your previous... He was a hell of a fighter a few years back, but we don't know what he's going to be like today. So, you know, you'd like to think he'd have a couple of warm-up fights so we can say, yeah, and then get him in. But boxing these days, I think the money's everything in it.
You fought both, obviously. In your opinion, who's better? Who's tougher?
I think Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, I think Floyd Mayweather. I mean, and that sounds rich because he absolutely was probably one of the most brutal knockouts in boxing history, I'd say. You know what I mean? When I see him getting knocked out by Pacquiao on Instagram or YouTube or anything like that, it's in the top 10 of the most destructive knockouts of all time.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit past myself by the day. You know, I'd had one or two. You know, I wasn't a master of defense like Floyd Mayweather. I'd take 4 to get one in sometimes.
Ben Shalom enters the discussion with deep concern. As a promoter himself, he knows the temptation that comes with staging a major event headlined by a legend like Pacquiao. But he also feels a responsibility to protect fighters, especially when they're past their physical peak. Shalom suggests that while Pacquiao's name guarantees attention, the human cost of such comebacks is often ignored. He points to examples of former champions who suffered both physically and mentally after one too many fights.
Thank you to Manny Pacquiao. Unbelievable career that we may never have a career like that again. I want you to take with you when it comes to Manny Pacquiao is moments. By taking themselves out of a comfort zone, challenging themselves. And Manny Pacquiao is a dinosaur when it's last of a dying breed. We're not going to see too many fighters like this ever again. And Pacquiao is going to be the type of fighter that we tell our kids about. Pacquiao has 20 wins, greater than some of your favorite fighters' best win. Manny Pacquiao has 3 Hall of Fame careers in one, winning legit titles in 8 different weight classes. Pacquiao's legacy will age better and better and better. Times go on and on and on. A fighter like Floyd Mayweather, I think his legacy will diminish a little bit. Salute to Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest of all time.
Ryan Campbell takes a middle ground approach. He admits that Manny Pacquiao is clearly not the same fighter he once was. Age affects everyone, but he also believes that special fighters have the ability to create special moments regardless of how old they are. Using George Foreman's incredible comeback as a reference, Campbell reminds us that boxing has a history of defying expectations. He doesn't promise victory for Pacquiao, but he leaves room for surprise.
Up for a Senate position in the Philippines, so we always know that Manny is a busy man. He gets after it. He also dares to be great, and this is wild news. Look, in the boxing underground rumor mill, this had been floating around for a couple months. We just didn't know if it was going to be for real. Was Manny really going to commit to not just coming back after 4 years away, after just one fight in the last 6 years, at age 46? but to come back directly into a title fight against a young, in his prime, active champion in Mario Barrios. It's interesting theater, to say the least. It's a pay-per-view main event, reportedly for July 19th. And we know Manny Pacquiao has always brought big business, but now he's going to bring it in more of the late career George Foreman type of way to etch himself into that record book even further. Can Manny do it? I mean, look, the odds are certainly against him, but there's one thing about certain legends in this game. Think Bernard Hopkins, who fought into a very late age. Some of them, as long as they can physically get themselves into that ring, sometimes they can reproduce magic for one night. So it's a romantic situation. I got cats walking around.
Yep.
People are excited to see the Pac-Man back. You just got to kind of figure out, is this for real? Is he going to be for real? Or are we going to send him into a physical, violent retirement?
Greg Hackett offers a blunt perspective, stripping the fight of any romanticism. For him, this bout isn't about glory or legacy, it's about business. He firmly believes that if this same matchup happened when Pacquiao was in his prime, Barrios wouldn't stand a chance. But now things have changed. Hackett argues that Pacquiao is no longer a dangerous force, but a name that sells tickets. In his eyes, this fight is more about marketing than merit.
Sound like Pacquiao trying to hit a lick, you know what I mean? But Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation, because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios' ass. But right now, Barrios, with his momentum, might fuck around and beat Pacquiao up. I mean, not knock him out, but, you know what I mean, beat him on the cards, beat him behind that jab.
Similar to like Ugas, the Ugas fight?
Yeah, like on some shit like that. It's a good fight, but it's more of a good fight for Barrios. Pacquiao don't need it, but Pacquiao want to come back, and he want to come back with a bang, so, I mean, why not? If he could make it happen, make it happen. Because I would love, if Barrios was my fighter, I would love to have a Pacquiao on the record. I mean, I would love something like that. And that's a fight you know you got to get ready for.
It's a fight that boxing fans want to criticize you for.
Yeah.
But the reality is, Manny Pacquiao has a diehard fan base that you're going to make money with that fight.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to see other fights at 47. You, Stanionis, you, Boots, you, Brian Norman.
Yeah, but you want to steal as much as he can steal. You know what I mean? Because again, this shit is not forever. Just like anything else, it's going to end. So you want to make some money, and you want to do great things, but not so great where I get in there with a guy that'll kill me right now. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, fuck it. I'll fuck with Pacquiao. He damn near 50 years old. I'll fight him. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So these dudes different anyway. They different. If I was Barrios, I wouldn't entertain Pacquiao. I'd be on their hunt for the rest of them straps.
Even with Manny Pacquiao's training footage and confident attitude circulating online, seasoned voices in boxing remain uneasy. They worry that while his spirit is strong, his body may not cooperate under real fight conditions. Training is one thing. Stepping into the ring against a younger, hungry fighter like Barrios is something entirely different. Experts are particularly concerned about his reflexes, ability to take punches, and stamina over several rounds.
This is a bad idea. Out of nowhere, the WBC decides they want their welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, to defend his belt against Manny Pacquiao. About 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I would have said, hells yeah, if we had a Manny Pacquiao championship fight. But Manny's been retired for 4 years. He's 46 years old. His last fight was in 2021, and he lost to Ugas in a unanimous decision. I watched his exhibition bout against the kickboxer guy in Japan. And again, I think people will look at this and go, well, Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, and yeah, that happened. And I also said that Mike was going to get really badly hurt, and it was a terrible idea for him to do that. And there were some health issues and everything else. Luckily, Mike didn't get super hurt in the fight, but this...
From a business standpoint, Manny Pacquiao's comeback makes perfect sense. His name is still one of the biggest in the sport, and putting him in a high-profile fight guarantees massive attention. This particular bout, in the eyes of some, has less to do with championship relevance and more to do with generating cash. The opponent, Mario Barrios, is young and marketable, and the matchup is designed to spark curiosity. The analyst behind this view sees the fight as a clever business. Strategy more than a sporting event?
The reason why I wanted that to happen is that if Manny Pacquiao is really considering of coming back to professional boxing, I think that would be a good measurement and sign and a marketing for him when he returned to boxing.
Across social media, fans have voiced mixed emotions about Manny's return. While some cheer his decision and see it as brave, others feel it's a step too far. Concern for his health is widespread. Fans worry that another hard fight could tarnish what many see as a nearly perfect legacy. Some argue that Manny already achieved everything he needed to in boxing and shouldn't risk injury or defeat at this stage.
Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios is a done deal. Fight will either happen July 19th or July 26th in Las Vegas or San Antonio. And it's not going to be a pay-per-view. It's going to be free on Amazon Prime. Whew. We blast Jake Paul for these types of fights. And yet a current world champion and Mario Barrios is going to go after Manny Pacquiao. Listen, I get it. You get to share the ring with the legend of Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest to all ever do it. But he's been retired now. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Manny Pacquiao did not look good in his previous exhibition he did last year either. Mario Barrios should easily run laps around Manny Pacquiao, destroy him. Why are we wasting time with this type of fight? It makes absolutely no sense to me. Listen.
Manny Pacquiao's reasons for returning might be deeply personal, but critics aren't convinced it's a wise move. The fight world knows all too well how brutal comebacks can be, especially for fighters in their 40s. His opponent, MarioBarrios, isn't just younger. He's active, sharp, and motivated. That's a dangerous mix against someone who hasn't fought competitively in years.
Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to deal with money. One, two. I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, you know, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, you know, bigger fighter, knows how to, you know, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, you know, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. You know, that Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I actually think he can beat Barrios.